Rules of House of Representatives. Section 23 Code of Official Conduct. Here is hereby established be for the normal House following code of conduct known as the Code of Official Conduct. Member, delegate, resident, commissioner, officer, employee, House shall behave at all times in the manner shall reflect the credibility of the House. Member, delegate, resident, commissioner, officer of the employee, House shall adhere to the spirit letter of the rules of the House, the rules duly constituted, commits thereof. The member, the delegate, resident, commissioner, officer of the employee of the House may not receive compensation, may not permit compensation to accrue the beneficial interest such individual any source of the receipt of which occur with the virtue and influence of the improperly exerted of the position of such individual congression in Congress. Member, delegate, resident, commissioner, officer of the employee of the House may not accept gifts that provided in Clause 5 of the Rule 25. Member, delegate, resident, commissioner, officer of the employee of the House may not accept the humanitarian honorarium for a speech or written for a publication or other similar activity except as otherwise provided under Rule 25. Member, delegate, resident, commissioner shall keep the campaign fund such individual separate from personal funds of such individual may not convert the company campaign funds personal use excessive amount of the representation reimbursement legitimate verifiable campaign expenditures except provided in Clause 1B of the Rule 24 may not expend funds from the campaign account of such individual that are not attributed to bona fide campaign or political purposes. Member, delegate, resident, commissioner shall treat with the campaign contributions all proceeds from the testimonial dinners or other fundraising events. Member, delegate, residential commissioner, officer of the House may not restrain employee who does not perform duties of the office of the employee authority constraint with the compensation such as the employee receives Rule 10 of the evidence complained with by the chair of this call for the cause 9 of the Rule 10 except as specified in subparagraph 2. Member, delegate, resident, commissioner may not retain relative to the individual paid in position employed with the House may not accept the compensation work of the committee of which relative to such employee may serve as a member. So paragraph shall not apply with the case of the relative of the protected employment per the dates for the 113th Congress. It is used in paragraph term related of the meaning of the individual related to member, the delegate, resident, commissioner of the father, the mother, son, daughter, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, first cousin, nephew, niece, husband, wife, father-in-law, mother-in-law, sons-in-law, daughter-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, stepfather, stepmother, stepson, stepdaughter, stepbrother, stepsister, half-brother, half-sister, grandson, granddaughter, member, delegated, resident, commissioner, officer, and employee of the House who may not discharge, may not refuse to hire any individual otherwise discriminate against an individual with respect to compensation. Term, condition, privilege, employment because of the race and color, religion, sex, including the marital and parental status, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, age, national origin, such individual including committing an act of sexual harassment against an individual but may take into consideration domicile, political affiliation, such individual. Member, delegated, resident, commissioner has been convicted by a court of record of the commission of the crime for which sentence of 2 more years of imprisonment but may be imposed should refrain from the participation business of each of the committee of which such individual is a member. The member should refrain from voting on any of the question meeting the House of the committee of the whole House on the State of the Union until judicial executive proceeding resolve the reinstatement of the presumption of innocence of the member until the member is re-elected to the House after the date of such conviction. Member, delegate, resident, commissioner have been indicted for otherwise formally charged criminal conduct, federal, state, local court punishment as a felony which sentence of the 2 or more for years imprisonment may be imposed and should resign from any stand selected joint or ad hoc committee, any subcommittee thereof, the which the member, the delegate, or resident commissioner serve and should decide with the party of caucus, conference, leadership, position such member, the delegate, resident commissioner holds unless until the judicial effective proceedings result with an acquittal or a charge of dismissed or reduced less than a felony described in subparagraph. In this paragraph, a member of the delegated resident commissioner may not authorize otherwise allow individual, group, organization not under the direction control of the House of the use of the word Congress of the United States, the House of Representatives, the official business, or any combination of the words thereof of the letterhead envelope. Except provided in paragraph B, employee of the House who is required to file under the title Rules 26 may not participate personally substantially with an employee of the House in contact with the agency, with the executive, judicial branch government with respect to non-legislative matters affecting a non-governmental person in which employee has significant financial interest. Paragraph A does not apply with the employee first divide with the employee authority. Such employee has significant financial interest described in paragraph A obtains from such employee authority of writing waiver stating the participation of the employee actively described in paragraph subparagraph. It is necessary with a copy of each such waiver that is filled with the Committee of Ethics before the member, delegate, resident commissioner, officer, employee of the House may accept the classified information following the oath of affirmation shall be executed. I do solemnly swear affirm that I will not disclose classified information received with the course of my service with the House of Representatives except the authorized with the House of Representatives in accordance with the rules. Copies executed oath of affirmation should be retained as part of the record of the House in case of the member, delegate, with the resident commissioner by the clerk in the case of the officer employee with the House and sergeant armed clerk with a shelf with the names each of the member who has signed the oath during the week, if any, to be with the published portion of the congressional record designated for the purpose on the last legislative day of the week, making the cumulative list of such names available to each day of the public inspection appropriate officers of the House member and delegate resident commissioner may not, in intent with the influence of the base of the partisan political affiliation, an employment decision or employment practice with the private entity, take, withhold with an offer, threaten, take, withhold the official act with influence, offer with a threaten to influence official act with another, except the provided in paragraphs B, C, member, delegate, resident, commissioner that may not offer personal funds, official funds, campaign funds for the flight on an aircraft. Paragraph A does not apply for the aircraft operated by the aircraft commercial operator certified Federal Aviation Administration when the flight is required to be conducted under air carrier safety rules or other cases of travel to which abroad by air carrier commercial operators decertified with the appropriate or operator certified with appropriate foreign civil aviation authority flight is required to be conducted under air carrier safety rules. Aircraft owned and leased by the member, delegate, resident, commissioner, family member of the member, delegate, resident, commissioner, including aircraft owned by the entity that is not a public corporation, which member, the delegate, resident, commissioner, or family member of the member, delegate, resident, commissioner, such of the ownership and interest provided, such of the member, delegate, resident, commissioner does not use aircraft any more than the member, the delegate, resident, commissioner of the family member's proportionate share of the ownership allows. The flight can consist of the personal use of the aircraft member, delegated, resident, commissioner, if supplied, individual basis of the personal friendship with another member, the delegated, resident, commissioner, aircraft of the operator entity with the federal government, entity with the government of any state with the owner and operator of the aircraft is paid for the pro-rate share of the fair market value of the normal usual character charter fare with a rental charge per comparable plane of the comparable size is determined by the dividing such by the number of members, delegates, resident, commissioners, official employees, Congress on the flight. Advance written request of the waiver of restriction. Paragraph A may be granted jointly with the chair, ranking minority member committee on ethics, subject to such conditions may be prescribed. In the scope of the term campaign funds include the funds particular political company under the Federal Election Campaign Act of 1971, regard to wherever the committee is an authorized committee of the member, the delegate, resident, commissioner involved under such act. And the term family member means an individual related to the member, the delegate, resident, commissioner, father, mother, son, daughter, brother, sister, husband, wife, father-in-law, mother-in-law, and the term on the basis of the personal friendship, same meaning of the Clause 5 of the Title 25 shall be determined under Clause 5A3D2 of the Rule of 25. Member, delegate, resident, commissioner of the may condition inclusion in language providing funding of the congressional earmark, limited tax benefit, limited tax tariff benefit of any bill with a joint resolution accompanying report, any of the conference report over the bill, joint resolution, including accompanying joint explanatory statement of the manager, any vote cast by another member, delegate, resident, commissioner for purpose of the clause 17, the congressional earmark, limited tax benefit, and limited tariff benefit shall have the means given in the clause 9, rule 21. Member, delegate, resident, commissioner request for the congressional earmark, limited tax benefit, and limited tax benefit in a bill with a joint resolution or any accompanying any of the conference report of the bill, joint resolution accompanying with the joint statement of the manager shall be provided with a written statement of the chair of the ranking minority member of the committee jurisdiction, include the name of the member, delegate, resident, commissioner, in case of congressional earmark, name and address intended for the recipient. There is no specifically intended recipient intended location of the activity. In case of limited tax and tariff identification, individual exceeding either reasonably anticipated to the benefit to the extent known to the member, delegate, resident, commissioner, for purpose of such congressional earmark, limited tax and tariff benefit with a certification member of the delegate, resident, commissioner spouse that has no financial interest such for the congressional earmark, limited tax or tariff benefit. Each committee shall maintain information transmitted under paragraph A of the written disclosure and congressional earmarks, limited tax benefit, limited tariff benefits included in any measure reported by the committee or conference report filed by the chair of the committee of any subcommittee thereof should be only of the public inspection. There should be open for public inspection. Member, delegate, resident with the commissioner may not engage in sexual relationship with an employee of the House of the Works or with a supervision member, the delegate, resident, commissioner, or with an employee of the committee with a member, the delegate, resident, commissioner serves. Paragraph does not apply with the respective relation between two people who are married to each other. The member, the delegate, resident, commissioner, officer of the employee of the House may engage unwelcome sexual advances or conduct towards the member, the delegate, with the resident, commissioner, employee of the House. In clause Term employee includes applicant for employment paid for the unpaid internment, include the application for the internship, detailee, an individual participant in the fellowship program, member, delegate, resident, commissioner, officer, employee of the House, may not serve the office of the director, any of the public company. In paragraph, the public company means an issue defined in Section 3 of the Security Exchange Act of 1934. Securities which are required to be registered under Section 12 of the Act, such Act, with the required file reports in Section 15D of such Act, member, delegate, resident, commissioner, officer, employee of the House shall comply with the regulations issued with the revised as necessary with the committee and after described the type of the prohibited service of positions who lead to conflict of interest. Members of the delegate, resident, commissioner, of the officer of the employee of the House may not directly take action to prevent individual from retaliating against individual providing truthful information over the Committee on Ethics of the official Congressional Ethics Office of the Congressional Workplace Rights. Any law enforcement provisions officials provided with the disclosure of such information is not otherwise prohibited by the law or House rules, except provided in paragraph. Except as provided in paragraph B, C, with a delegate, resident, commissioner, or officer of the employee of the House not knowingly, willfully disclosing public identity of the person will identify with the information individual with a purported allegation proposable wrongdoing, including retaliation under process of the protection provided by the Civil Service Reform Act of 1978, Whistleblower Act of 1989, Intelligence Committee Whistleblower Protection Act of 1998, and if any of the federal laws establish the right for the individual to be protected, the disclosure of the Congress and the limitation paragraph shall not imply with any of the disclosure individual identity, person identifiable with the information of the individual provided express with written consent with the prior to such disclosure. Individual has already voluntarily publicly disclosed their identity. Disclosure of the chair of the committee with affirmative vote with the 2/3 of the members of the committee that says disclosure of the public interest. Nothing in this clause shall prevent investigation, allegation of the wrongdoing disclosed by an individual. Public disclosure substantive of the information shared with the individual that is not personally identifiable with the individual. Disclosure more pursuant to the paragraph B3 subject for the appropriate safeguard with including the individual be provided timely advance notice for the possible before their identity, personal identifiable information with disclosure prior to the vote to describe in the paragraph B3 unless such information is jeopardized related to the investigation. Providing such notice to individual committee chair shall send individual written explanation for the reason of the disclosure and the code of conduct, official conduct of the officer and the employee of the House, maybe the individual with compensation with the disbursed for the chief administrator officer of the individual who serves in the compensated House pursuant to the consult with the contract considered with the employee of the House representative purpose clause 1, 3, 4, 8, 9, and 13 of the rule. Individual who serves the compensated with the House pursuant to the consult with the contract may not lobby with the contracting committee of the members of the staff of the contracting committee of any matter such individuals may lobby other members of delegates, resident commissioner of the staff of the House of the matters outside of the jurisdiction contracting committee. In case of the individual who is a member of the employee of the firm partnerships with other business organization, other members of the employees